Good morning, everyone. I'm Linh Hướng, and I'm grateful to be MC for this session. I hope you have enjoyed the beautiful yoga and meditation session this morning. And now we're going to have the 5 house introduction, which will begin in just few minutes. So please check your interpretation settings and select the language that you prefer. And now set your mind, set an intention for today to enjoy all the class or teachings, to serve all the beings. And welcome to the 5 houses introduction session live from Kyoto. And let yourself be fully present and enjoy.
Welcome everyone from online and also in person. Please, for those of you who come in late, please be seated as soon as possible. We're starting right now. 我们现在开始了，请大家进来的时候尽快落座。外面的义工伙伴，帮我们看一下，还有没有其他的朋友没有进来，请让他们尽快进来，我们马上要开始了。大家入座之后，请检查一下自己的 Live Voice 的翻译有没有在运作。When you're seated, please also check your Live Voice, see if it works, the translation channel, see if the Live Voice works for you. And if there's any problem with your Live Voice, please reach out to Brian at the text deck at the end of the room. Okay, so welcome everyone. We're back to the 5 houses event, and today we have so much pleasure to have our in-person guests with us and also with our friends from online. And so now we will have the 5 houses introduction by our dear Tim Lowenhart. He is the executive director of ACI. He's been teaching various ACI classes, and he also have been a translator for the Diamond Cutter Classics for more than 10 years. So let's give him a warm, large round of applause. And thank you so much, Tim, for everything.
I like how David says my last name, Lowenhart, which is not my last name, but I think I might change it. I like it. First of all, in Japan, I don't know if anyone's ever noticed, is that when someone loses something somewhere, nobody picks it up. They just leave it there for days. So knowing that I don't think this is a Japanese thing, someone's pen for it's either some kind of writing pad or iPad or some electronic device thing was left in an elevator, and it may have fallen out of someone's bag or something like that. So if this is yours, it's up here, and we only have half the people here, so my guess is someone else. And if no one claims it, I will put it back in the elevator, and then you can all look at it when you get in and out of the elevator. And it will stay there. Okay. First slide, Brian, just put that up, please. Good morning. I heard the meditation was phenomenal this morning, so I heard that it went very, very well. I was clearly not there. My apologies. I had a breakfast meeting this morning. So a lot of you have been with us over the last year or so as we've been talking about the transition of the Asian Classics Institute into the 5 houses. And it's been one of those things that we've been talking a lot about it, but we haven't been giving a lot of details of what that is. And part of that is we don't have all the details yet. It's an evolving thing. it's something that, the Asian Classics Institute has been around for 33 years now, 32 years, moving into 33 years. And how does one just change, right? Like, how do we change into something different, but how do we keep things the same? Like, how do we not lose the essence? How do we keep those things? And I think there's this, like, change management it's a wieldy thing. It's a kind of, we're not really sure exactly where it's going to go and how it's going to shape up. And so we've been building things, we've been putting together ideas, we've been suggesting, we've been encouraging. And a lot of you have been part of these events, and also have been part of the online workshops where we've been testing new ideas, we've been soliciting feedback. The last couple workshops have been you presenting to us ideas. What kind of classes could we offer in each of the various houses? And we're doing this kind of fun Shark Tank thing where, and if you've been part of it, I've been really enjoying it, where we get presentations of courses, and then we have a panel of teachers who give feedback to say, hey, that's cool, but maybe think about this, or this is a great place to start here. How do we expand it in this other way? And so we're developing basically we're crowdsourcing your ideas, because a lot of the idea of the 5 houses is, how do we reach different types of people, audiences? Now the original, we had a big, I'm going to exaggerate a little bit for the purposes of telling a story, but we had a big meltdown in one of our staff meetings one day, where I couldn't figure out, like, what was the resistance? What was the resistance to the change? And we realized that a lot of people were worried, like, what do we do with the Asian Classics Institute? Some people were feeling we're losing something, right? We're losing 33 years of tradition. We're actually losing the Buddhist tradition. How are we, the thing that brought a lot of people here was the Asian Classics Institute. Well, duh, that's where we are, right? And they've had life-changing experiences because of their studies, because of their hard practice, because of the community. And there was a feeling of loss and a feeling of the thing that helped them. They were worried that we would not be helping other people in the same way because we were making a change. And so that something was going away. And it was a beautiful reflection of how to be very, very careful with change, like any kind of change. Because I like to pretend I'm good at change. When they're going this way and then someone says, no, actually we're going this way. You kind of, when you're working with a teacher, you kind of have to get used to it. I know Jigme and I have talked a lot about this. Like, you go this way, you're like, I'm following the instructions and we're going this way for 6 months, for a year, right? And then all of a sudden the teacher's like, well, no, we're going this way. And then you're like, but I just did all this work. Aren't you proud of me? I worked so hard on this, and look at the result. And like, it's the way that my teacher teaches me is like, I don't see anything. We're going here. And then my insides are like, oh man, that hurts. You've just ripped out my life work and the things that are all important to me. Then I'd like to pretend that I'm really good. I'm like, whatever, I'll leave that behind. But the good seeds that were planted in that effort aren't lost, of course. Right? Those good seeds are never lost. We're just going over here and doing different seeds. but I think it's a very important thing for us to understand and also consider, like, the foundations of what we've done for 33 years. Like, are we shaking them up and changing them and throwing them away, or are we evolving them? What are we keeping and what are we not keeping, I guess? And that's, a lot of those questions are still up in the air. And what's not up in the air is that everything that we've done thus far is not going away. Your 18 courses, your beloved, you know, for some people they're beloved, for others they're torture, I guess. Especially when you have to do homework. You know, you hear the word homework and everyone's like, dude, I graduated already, and stop. No, but that's not going anywhere, right? And that's moving into one of the 5 houses. And all of the traditions and all the ways of teaching and all the access that we create. Like, I forgot, sorry, I just remembered. Forgot to include something in my PowerPoint. Ale, do you remember where you sent me the list of scholarships that we just gave away? Was that in Telegram? Okay. I'm sorry, I was supposed to, I knew I was forgetting something this morning. Oh, there it is, okay. Time's up. No, it's not. That's not what this, they changed their secret message to me. I'm like, great, guys, thank you. One of the, is the mic better now? No. Is it my fault, or do you want me to, is something like this? Is that better? No, but then the people in the room can't hear me. Let's make this, one of the 3 things of the ACI teachings is making it accessible. Is that, hold on, no, is that, ooh. Okay, let's steal this. How's that? All right, is that better? Ooh, that sounds a lot nicer. Does it sound better online, I guess, as well? Okay, cool. Solve that problem. So one of the things that we've focused on and is consistent with the ACI teachings is it is accessible in a way that anyone who wants to attend can, irrespective of your financial situation. And a lot of people ask me, well, you know, Tim, the price is expensive, right? I know how much you all paid, a lot of you paid to come here. But there's an area which is quite prominent that says, if you're not able to afford this, let us know. And people write us and say, I want to come, but I can't afford this. And then we say, well, how much can you afford? And it's in the numbers kind of vary. Some people say, well, actually, I can do $100, or I can't do anything at all, or I can do a little bit more. And the idea is that anyone who wants to come can come. If there's a place in this room, even if we're violating fire codes, we let you in. We've had people show up who just say, I want to come. And you're like, yes, please, come on in. You know, of course we have to pay for this room. You don't want to know how much this costs. You know, we have to pay for the flights. We have to pay for a lot of different things. You know, but it's always open and accessible and free. You know, and if you can't afford it, we find a way. And the thing that I wanted to highlight is the number of scholarships that we gave. This was as of last week, and number has probably increased. But when it comes to just here in the room, we gave 17 people asked for scholarships, okay, and we honored all of those. And then on our online program, we have 1,000 people just in the scholarship track. Okay, so we've given away, if I can do math pretty quickly, 11, 17, 20, something like $25,000, $26,000 in just in scholarships that allow people to come, right? And then all of those ACI courses taught online, like there's teachers teaching all week long. All of those classes, there's no cost at all. There's no production cost for those classes, because what we do is we fundraise elsewhere for the production costs of all of those online classes. And so the idea is that we're giving away the knowledge. Like, how can you put a price on, like what I said last night in class? Like, if one person could see emptiness directly because of something that is set up here, I would pay $1 million. Like, I would go into serious debt for that. Like, there's no price. Like, what kind of person would that be? Like, to have that happen, right? And I told you last night that, we had an unfortunate scenario where we had a lot of cancellations. Things happen in the world and things change, right? And then we had to struggle. Well, where are we going to find that $75,000? You get, of course, I get all these messages at like 10 at night. Like right before you're going to bed, you're doing your coffee meditation. You're like, we need $75,000. And I'm like, why did I look at that right now, right? And then I have to think, okay, well, how are we going to get that money? How are we going to get that money? How are we going to make this work? But we do make it work, right? And that aspect of the Asian Classics Institute is not going away. So those classes will continue to be taught. They will be continue to taught for free. And many of our future programs in the 5 houses will function similarly, right? Because obviously it works in some way. Like if we don't think about money and we give things away, we just tend to fill up a room anyway. I don't really worry about it. Like I actually didn't really lose much sleep over $75,000. Not much, just a little bit. But we also have, we have this, if you understand seeds, then you work with that level. You work on the level, all right, well, let's focus on our generosity, Tim. When have you been generous in the past? Focus on that. And then what we do at ACI is then when we have our staff meeting, I'm like, hey guys, we got to find $75,000. And immediately we go into rejoicing mode and start thinking about how many people we've helped, how many people have access. Francisco, could you find me the list of how many classes and hours that we have recorded and translated? And whenever it's ready, just put it up. Thank you. And all worldview, like Diamond Cutter Classics and YS, like put it all together so it looks bigger. We actually also support, like the ACI team under Worldview Productions also provides services to the Diamond Cutter Classics and all of their classes. We provide some services to YSI as well. YSI is paying us for some of it as well, which is very generous of them, thank you. But we would do it whether or not they paid, right? And so the first part of my introduction is, don't worry. The 18 courses are alive and well, and they will continue on, right? But the main thing that we've found is not everybody responds to the 18 courses. It's not for everybody. It's not for every practitioner. It's not for every mind. There's people in the world who look at them and go, while the majority of you are like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for my entire life. Other people are like, I just wanted to open my heart, or this is too heady for me. I wanted community. You know, I wanted a group of people who were working. Hi, Ina. I wanted a group of people to help and serve. And that's we do all of those things. And the 18 courses are sometimes not accessible to everybody. And if the mission of the Asian Classics Institute is to teach the authentic teachings, to make them accessible, and to make them relevant, which I believe Geshe wrote that mission statement in 2016 when we started our teacher trainings. We actually are following the mission by evolving into this thing called 5 houses. And I remember one day we were at a DSCU event. Oh, there's a DSCU table in the back. And we were having, no, I'm sorry. I don't remember. It was either that or China soft, or classic soft power, I can't remember. And they were having a dinner party. They were having a dinner reception. It was CSP. And we walked in, and before we were already late. And then instead of going into the dinner, Geshe Michael said, "Hey, I have this idea." And then we sat down, and I'm like, "Geshe Michael, we have this dinner we have to go to. All these people are waiting." And he said, "I have an idea. This is more important." I'm like, "Okay," you know. And then that's when he presented this idea of the 5 houses. And so the fundamental idea is, how do we take those classical teachings, the thing that many of you are already steeped in, you know, like a nice matcha tea, and then how do we make it accessible to different types of people, different types of minds, so then they can grow in their understanding of wisdom and compassion. That's the mission. That's the idea. Anything that you can do to help somebody be nicer and kinder, anything that you can do to help them understand this, right? The differences in subtle ways and more obvious ways. That's been our mission. That's been our mission all along. Right? So this is, to me, this feels like a natural evolution. Like, how can we reach more people? So just looking at this, it's kind of squiggly on that. Okay, you can get a sense. Do I have the little clicky thing? I don't. This is really difficult for me. Yeah, so you can get a sense of how many hours, and it's not translated, but you can get a sense of how many hours we've recorded, how many translation hours there have been, how many students we have. Yeah, so it looks like we have 20,000 students in 13 different languages. We made a decision back in COVID, very first COVID, which was, everyone's eyes popped out of their head when we decided it, but we made it a mission that everything we do is in multiple languages. We just said, we're going to offer these teachings in as many languages as people come to us in. So I think it says 13 languages, 15. Okay, that's nicer. It's even more bigger, right? So we're offering courses in 15 languages. We have a team of interpreters. I don't know how they do it. Like, some of them are sitting right here. I have no idea how they interpret for hours at a time. Professional interpreters rotate every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes to keep their brains fresh. And some interpreters are doing 2-hour classes by themselves. I mean, I don't know how you feel afterwards, you know. But they're the ones bringing all this to everybody. Like, how many languages are currently being interpreted? 12? 10? 5? 10? 15? Like, there's 15 live languages right now. That's what I mean. okay? So 14 of them are not even hearing my voice, right? You know, they're hearing the voice of somebody else. Like, that's pretty cool. And so the evolution of this organization is, how do we reach more people in the places that they are, in the languages that they speak, right? It's so much nicer. And then the correlation, the next steps are getting teachers into those languages, because there's one thing to be listening through interpreting, right? But it's totally different when you're listening in your own native language, right? You know, half the room is listening to interpretation right now. You know, I can gauge how long it takes to interpret when you get laughter 15 seconds later for a good joke. See, it landed. See how long it takes? All right, so I want to give... Oh, I love Brian, you're so great. Okay, so quickly, I want to go into how are we going to reach those people, and then what our mission is through this program. What are we going to try to focus on, and the next steps in the evolution and development of the 5 houses? Okay. All right, so very quickly, first slide, Brian. You know, we talked about the 5 houses. First house is the classics house, which everything from the current ACI is going to scoot into there. And so everything that we've done thus far, the mission, the way we teach, the way the finances work, everything's going to just flow into that spot. And this is for people that are probably like us in this room, mainly, right? If you're here, it's probably because you're attracted to the classics. I think. I hope so. In some way, there's something in it that you're attracted to, right? And that's where all of that's going to land. So next slide. This is the Samadhi house. Oh, there we go. We got a little excitement in the back. They've been waiting for that one. And this is for people that are more attracted to meditation, right? So maybe if you're like, think of all 5 of these as doors, right? They're doors that people are going to go through. So a lot of you, many of you, probably all of you, came here through the door of the classics. You had some attraction to the classical presentation. But then another door is, well, maybe they're not attracted in that way. They're not attracted to those teachings in that way. And so the other door that opens up is through meditation. And how many people are attracted to meditation first? Right? I had a nice conversation with Sylvia last night. You know, and it was the first time I've known Sylvia, 10 years now, maybe a little bit longer than that, right? And all of a sudden, I've never seen the passion flow from her the way it flowed last night. All of a sudden, she's like, and this about meditation, and all the science around it, and all the cool things that are related to the classical text. And she just lit up like a halogen light bulb, okay? Incredibly bright, incredibly passionate. And I was like, wow, this is what she wants to do. And I'm like, great. Like, that kind of passion, like, that's for people that are going to go through this door. right? And so why should we, yes, the ACI courses have meditations in them. Yes, the ACI courses have a course called Applied Meditation, course number 3. Every homework has a meditation. We encourage meditation. We have meditations in these programs. We talk about the importance of meditation and then doing retreat. Of course, we do all of those things in the Classics house too. But it's not the entry point for people directly. And so the idea is then Samadhi house would be a place for people like Sylvia, who just, I was like, oh my God, like that's the kind of light that we're looking for. So when people see that light coming through the Samadhi house door, they will run to it because they'll be in alignment, right? There'll be a synergistic thing that happens. Then you get them in there, you teach them about some meditation, and then you're like, da 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 da, you do all the things, right? And then you give them community service, and you have them help people, and you do all the things, and then suddenly they're all in the diamond way, and they're achieving enlightenment, right? And like it's all the same things are happening, but maybe in slightly different orders or presentations. Next slide, which is the mountain house. Maybe your door to entry is you have a feeling of, I want to do retreat. People who enjoy, like when you ask someone, I don't think Chloe's here, she's probably online. When you ask Chloe, what would you rather do on a weekend? Would you rather stay at home by yourself and meditate and study, or would you rather go out and like hang out in Sedona and go to a rave party? Chloe's like, I'll hang out by myself. I'm not going to do it for 2 days. I'm going to do it for a week. And she does it all the time. Like everyone's like, where's Chloe? Oh, she's in retreat. What, again? Everyone's like, oh, again. But that's her path. Like it's so clear. Like she lights up, like I saw Sylvia light up last night about retreat. That's her path. That's how she naturally engages it. She wants to run programs, like week-long programs. Hi, Chloe, there she is. Hi, can you, yeah. She looks like, even her background, she looks like she's on retreat. Come on. Right? And so for her, like that's her way. So why shouldn't we provide that resource, that door for people like Chloe? You see. All right, next one is called Staircase House. Lam Rim, steps on the path. A lot of people see things like this. They're like, I'm incredibly busy in my life. Give me a practice. Give me like one thing that I can do that's going to change my mind and change my heart. I don't have time for 10 2-hour ACI classes and meditation and homework, Tim. I'm sorry, I love you, but I don't love that. Right? Give me something to do. Okay, yesterday from my class, for 10,000 yen, what practice did you learn that's a little nugget of wisdom that you can practice and not have to put a lot of time and effort into it? Excuse me? Be more specific. I want the actual practice. Oh, she forgot. You're close. Yes. And what about the ant? Right, okay, exactly. I would just repeat it. She said, when you're walking down the street or you're walking in your home, look at the ground to see if you're stepping on any ants. and then make that a death meditation. To realize that I could be them, I could be that ant tomorrow. There it is, Lam Rim, one step, nugget of wisdom. That is a 15-second Instagram reel. That could go viral. You don't have to come to 20 classes and hours of things. Give me the thing to do. Can you give this to her? Okay. Good job. Okay. And that's a door for people, for a lot of people. A lot of us are incredibly busy, right? And we don't like, a lot of parents, not all parents, but I've seen a lot of parents who want to do this work, but they're like, look, I got little rugrats running around all the time. Give me things that I can practice while I'm watching my children, while I'm turning them into functional adults, independent adults, where I don't have to feed and bathe and clean and prevent them from sticking their hands in the electrical socket every 5 seconds, right? Give me something that I can do, right? And that's the idea of this staircase house, is step by step, give them little nuggets of wisdom, like every day. Just watch where you're stepping. Teach your kids not to step on the ants. It was interesting, like I had this teaching when I was like 6 years old, from my 6-year-old neighbor. It's a horrible story where we were in the yard and we found a really beautiful green praying mantis. You know, the little, like they're about this big and they have the little tiny clampers and they can fly a little bit. They move really slow, right? They're beautiful, elegant creatures. They also eat themselves too, but that's a different story. And I was so enthralled by this creature. I'm like, this is so beautiful. And you know what my friend did? He ran up to it and he kicked it like a soccer ball. Like, and I almost felt the pain of that insect's death, right? And it was so impactful for me. Like that's when I started watching what I was doing, like, and then recognizing how many creatures I'm killing just by being alive. Like, how many creatures are keeping you alive and are dying in the process of you staying alive? You know, that's Lam Rim. You know, teach your children not to kick praying mantises like soccer balls. Respect life. You know, and so that's part of the staircase house, giving people practices step by step that they can do to then become more advanced practitioners, to develop wisdom and compassion. So all of these are designed, they're all going towards the same goal. Tartuk Tekpachik, right? All paths go to the same goal. And if we're going to take all living beings there, maybe we need to think about the different ways that living beings can go there, or are able to go there. Right? And to me, I'm super, like, this lights me up. I'm so excited. Oh my God, this feels so, I don't know, it feels liberating to me. To be like, different voices, different languages, different presentations. The core is still the same. The ideas are still the same. They don't change. Like, the wisdom doesn't change. The idea that nothing is not coming from how you treated others in the past, period. But how does that evolve in people's minds? How does that idea take shape? Like, how does that flower grow? I went to breakfast this morning and I didn't realize, I've been in this hotel for like 4 days. I didn't realize there's a park outside. I was like, nice, right? And walking through the park, and there's a whole series of vines along one way, and there's just one tiny flower like wintertime flower that came out, right? And that's what it's like. Like, can you make every single person flower? What is going to bring out that passion in them? Like, after 10 years of knowing Sylvia, I was like, there's her winter flower, the one that just is blooming. And that's what our goal is how do we ripen people's seeds? And everybody has a different collection of them, and they come out in different orders. And the purifications come out in unique ways too, right, Roxana? But that's our mission, and that's what we're evolving into, to create unique ways for everyone to flower. And I wish I took a picture of it. I'll probably go back later. Next house. And the last one is, Brian, next, yeah, there you go, is the diamond house. Right? And this is where the advanced teachings are going to live. You know, after you finish the 18 courses, along with other qualifications, you can enter into the advanced 18 courses. And with this idea, this evolution idea, you know, that's also what we're doing here in the preparation for a new Diamond Way presentation, you know, calling it the Bridge to the Diamond Way. You know, we're learning the Song of My Spiritual Life as a Lam Rim, which is the requirement to move into Diamond Way. And Geshe will be teaching a new series of courses called Clear Diamond. And it's 12 courses long. And it's going to be a different presentation, complete presentation, but different presentation of the 18 original Diamond Way courses taught at Diamond Mountain in the 2003 to 9, something like that. 2004 to 2009, 2004, 2010, something like that. 2004 to 10, right? Okay. And those original courses, if you thought the 18 sutra courses were a lot, you know, it's full of incredible information, everything you need, and a lot more. But it's incomplete. There's tons of incredible amounts of detail, and there's maybe a different presentation. A lot of that was designed. This is what I've heard recently, and I don't take it literally. Don't take my words literally. It's not the only reason. Don't take me literally. Okay. But one of the reasons, of many, was that those courses are a preparation for a 3-year retreat and all the things you're going to need for 3-year retreat. It's not the only reason, and it's not but there was a goal for that. People were being prepared for 3-year retreat. Now, that's not maybe accessible for everybody. I don't know. I have this fear, and I'm never asking my teacher if I should do a 3-year retreat. I will never ask. But I have a fear that one day they're going to be like, it's time. And I'll be like, you know. But I think it's for a certain type of practitioner. It's a certain type of person who will do that, and a certain type of person who will benefit from it. Maybe it's not for everybody. And so my understanding thus far, and I'm now just saying my understanding, this is not 100% truth. I'm not speaking for the Lama at this point. It's just my understanding of what I've heard. You know, is that these 12 courses are for it's a different type of presentation for different types of students. That's my understanding. Is it complete? Yes. Well, what should I do? Should I study one or should I study the other? Don't diamond deal me. Okay. What if I have a Lama already? Can I come to the new Diamond Way courses? Yes, but you probably should ask that Lama first. But that's part of your relationship with your teacher, right? You know, what if I want to do one or do the other? Can I do both? Yes. You know, it's not an either or thing. You know, but you probably should, you probably should talk to your own teacher about what path is for you. What do you want to do? What's your path? You know, don't do what everyone else is doing. Do the path that's guided for you by the seeds that are coming out through your teacher that are ripening in those seeds. That's a weird way of saying it. The easiest way of saying it is if you have a teacher, ask them. Okay. But those new courses are going to live there as well. So you can see that all of the, you can see how we're expanding. Like, how are we opening different doors for people? And someone's like, well, how do I get into Diamond Way courses without the preparation? If you're listening really well, maybe you're already in the Diamond House and you just don't know it. I'm just saying. So what do I want to leave you with today? Like, where are we going next? The guidance that we have at this point is we need to expand the organization and we need people. And we need leadership in each of those houses. So I'm looking, actually I have the teachers looking, I have the staff looking secretly for people who fit the kind of profile, like who would be a leader of each of those houses. We need administrators, we need content development specialists, we need ways to train teachers. We need new coursework. We need, when people walk through those doors, it's beautiful to sell a door, but if there's no room on the other side, you know, what are you going to do with them once they walk through the door, right? And that's what we're trying to solve. Like, we have the doors, we have the ideas, but we don't have what's in the rooms yet. And we started that back in October with, okay, let's start thinking about creating courses. Like, let's go through the knowledge base. Let's go through the previous 18 courses. Let's go through all the new translations that have come out. How can we retool those ideas? How do we take those authentic ideas, accurate ideas? I'm sorry, I used the wrong mission statement. None of you corrected me, ACI staff. I said authentic earlier. It's accurate. We are teaching accurately from the ancient texts. No one else in the audience did either. You know, we're taking the original ideas. We're not making things up. I'm going to repeat, we are not making things up. We don't make anything up. And we take those ideas from the ancient texts, and then we tool them together into a presentation that helps people understand them. And so that's what we started doing in October, and that's what's been going on in these workshops. Presenting ideas, that's how we make the courses blossom. We're planting seeds. We don't know exactly how we're doing it yet. But what we need now is we need leadership. We need people to step up and say, I want. And I know a lot of you have already said that. We just weren't ready before. You know, now the time is. It's ready. And so what I want to leave you with is, how do we create leadership? Because if we're going to do this the right way, and we're going to use the ancient intelligence in the way it was intended, do I just ask for leaders? I mean, sure, I could ask for leaders. People. But I have a better way. And what is that? Oh my God. Right? How do you make sure you have leadership? How do you create leaders? Right? You got to give that away. And I have a particular problem. And my problem is is that I'm too independent. And I've been reminded of this for the last 10 years, and it's gotten worse and worse to the point that I can't not look at it anymore. I call it trying to find a nice word. Positive brutalization. I'm getting beat up. I'm getting my teeth kicked in the best way possible. I'm kind of enjoying it, actually. Not really. See, weird, almost fall out of my chair. That was weird. All of my life, I've been the independent one. I've been I can do this. 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 And it's not that I didn't want help from other people, but I had an affliction that I needed to do it. I needed to prove something inside myself. And then when I realized I had nothing to prove, except more afflictions and more negativities, it was a little brutal internally, right? And it's impossible in life in general to do anything by yourself. And so kind of like my seed planting practice has gone into a different area. It's like, how can I give it away? How can I give leadership away? How can I create more leaders? I'm talking about my karmic stuff. But at the end of the day, thank you. Time is not my friend. The only way that the 5 houses will live on and grow is that if we design this thinking about the kid who climbed up on the stage last night. We're doing it for them. We're doing it for his children. Like, we need to think about this not like, oh, how successful are we going to be in 5 years or 10 years? Like, in 20 years, I had this realization the other day. I'm like, on average, I have 1/3 of my life left. Like how are we going to move forward? Like, with 1/3 of my life left, do I think about this just selfishly, or do I think about this for everybody else? And I'm like, well, no, this needs to be grown in a very, very intentional way, in a way that's beyond that 1/3 of life left and beyond a lot of our own lives. We need to think about this and grow it in a way so then his kids will have a way to learn. And the way that the way that we're learning today is going to be different than the way he's learning and his kids are going to learn. Like the things that his kids' world is going to present, I'm not even going to see. I'm not going to see that world, and I have no idea what that's going to be like. But can we create an organization that has the capacity to continually evolve for the needs of the world as they present themselves to us? What do people need? What do they need now? What they need this year is going to be different than next year. What are they going to need in 10 years, in 20, 50 years? And can we build it in a way that lasts that long? Right? Because the idea, we want to change the whole world. We want to change this. We want this idea. Do you all know that this idea of the pen showed up in a Marvel movie or TV show? Someone taught the pen in a Hollywood production. And no one was like, oh, it wasn't like, well, where did you learn that? And they were like, oh, I went to this ACI class and they taught me that, the dog and a chew toy. They didn't say that. They just taught it in the class, in the movie. That's the goal. Like, it doesn't matter if there's an ACI or 5 houses. It doesn't matter if those things. What matters is that child who was up there thinks about where things are coming from. And if they learn that at that age, and they're learning how to create community and harmony together at that age, what's his life going to be like? God, I would have loved to have that when I was 4 years old, like looking back, or when I was 15, or when I was 20, or all those times when you're trying to learn, just trying to become an adult. You see. So how do we create leaders? How do we create leaders now, and how do we create leaders in the future? That's what I'm concerned about. Like, yes, we want leadership to step up, but at the same time, how do we constantly create that within ourselves? So there are 4 ways to do this. And it comes from a teaching on 4 ways to attract a student, but it's the 4 ways to be a good leader. Next slide, Brian. If we do these 4 things, if we commit to all of us doing this, you will see your leadership seeds thrive. And these are the things that I do, sometimes less consciously than others, when I'm not wrapped up in my own stuff that I'm trying to purify and work through, and and seeing how certain attitudes create more suffering and certain attitudes create less suffering. So the first one is about generosity. A good leader is generous. A good leader shares their knowledge. A good leader gives to the people who work for them. Give them opportunities. Give them opportunities to succeed, and give them opportunities to learn from their mistakes. You have to give people opportunities. You can't do everything by yourself. I'm talking to myself, but I'm talking to some other people too. One of the things we do in the ACI staff is, when there's a project, it's immediately, let's find a volunteer. Let's find a group of people who can help us with this. Give it away. The way to become a leader is to give it away. You don't become a leader by consolidating power around you. Okay, Tim, sometimes it seems that way. Well, that's a different seed. Okay. If anyone watches Star Wars, go watch Star Wars and the difference between a Jedi and a Sith. The Sith are afraid of losing their power. Once they have the power, they're afraid of losing it because they didn't understand how they got it in the first place. And so then they try to hold on to that power. They plant all these negative seeds to hold on to the power, and eventually they lose their power because they weren't planting the seeds to keep it. So the first thing is being generous. Give away what you have. You want all the glory? Give it away. Seriously. Help other people succeed. Give them that opportunity. I promise you, weird things happen when you do that. Well, here's the big affliction. Well, I can do it better than everybody else. How many people have felt that? I'm just going to raise my hand. Oh, I got a couple people in the room. I don't need help because I can do it better than everybody else. Okay, good for you. Well, isn't it much better if you taught other people how to do it? Because what happens if you die tomorrow? Then no one will know how to do it. Which world is better? Telling everyone I can do it because you can't, or teaching everyone else how to do it? And that's a shift in seeds. It's a shift in your attitude. Teach people. Teach them. Be generous. Give it away. Just give it away. I promise you, you're not going to lose anything. And if you do lose something, it's a different seed anyhow. But seriously, the way that you create leaders is to give away your leadership. Second slide. I know I'm going to go over. Just make that screen green and not red. The second thing is encourage them. Like, encourage their successes. I have a thing where I was an editor for many, many years, like both artistic, like graphical editor and also textual editor. And I have this attention to detail that is like annoying, incredibly annoying. And if you focus on the mistakes of the people who work with you, you're blocking your own leadership. Very rarely do I get criticized or my mistakes get pointed out by my teacher. But when they are being pointed out, it's because there's time to grow, it's time to change. It's time to change Tim, right? But I get so much more encouragement than discouragement. And as a leader, you have to encourage. You have to say, how can I help you? That's a great job. You're doing wonderfully. Keep it up. How can I help you? How can I help you? And also how to keep it up. Like, good, keep going. Don't worry about that mistake. We'll fix it tomorrow. Oh, you screwed up? Thanks for telling me. How do we fix it? Like, okay, wonderful. Just keep encouraging. And if you watch Geshe Michael, he is the master at encouragement. And he's also a master of not pointing out your mistakes. My mistake is time is up. But I got two more, and I want to finish these on purpose. Okay. Third one. Next slide. Here's little Timmy learning to ride a bike. Just kidding, it's not me. You're the parent, okay? You need to help them put into action the things that they've learned. You have to help them actually do the thing. You can't just say, go do it. Sometimes the teaching is just go do it and figure it out. But you have to be there and encourage them to put the teachings into practice, right? You have to be there to be like, hey, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. It's a chew toy, right? It's not going this way, it's going this way. You can do this. You have that within you. You're pushing them in that direction, right? Just like the parent is holding on to the back of the bicycle and the child thinks the parent is holding on. That's where you need to be as a leader. They need to know that you have their back. Even if you let go of the bicycle and they're on the other side of the room, right? And then what happens to the child? They're like, Daddy, where are you? And then they realize Daddy's all the way back there, and then they fall over, right? They think that you have to be like that parent, that they still think that you're there. They need to feel that you're there. They have to feel the safety of it. As a good leader, they need to feel safe. Safe to make mistakes, safe to try new things, safe to be able to do the things that you already know they can do, but they're a little afraid to do. It's encouragement, but with more like ensuring that they can do it. Be there for them. It's different. Applauding is one thing, but also hold on to that back of that bicycle seat a little bit longer. Let them know you're still there. And then when it is appropriate, then you have to let them go. Right? And then you have to let them fall. Right? Because obviously they could ride fine until they got scared. And then they fell over. And then, then you hug them, you hold on to them and say, yeah, that hurt. What did we learn? And then help them get back up and then keep riding. And then fourth thing as a leader, next slide, you have to ride the bike yourself. You have to walk the talk. You can't be the person who sits in the back of the room, telling everyone what to do, but then you're not doing it yourself. You got to get in there. You got to be part of that. You have to know what they're doing, and you have to be the example yourself. You have to be able to ride your bike Like the child won't be able to ride their bike unless they know dad can ride the bike or mom can ride the bike. I know. You know, so the idea of leadership is if you do those 4 things, that will create leaders. That'll, first of all, create leaders in yourself. Excuse me. It'll create leadership in yourself, karmically. But it's also what creates leaders for the next generation and the next generation. You know, the ones that are going to be hanging out with that little kid, right? 50 years from now. Like, he's going to be up here being like, talking about how do we keep leadership, how do we keep it going, how do we keep the teachings in the world, and how do we create those doors, how do we create those ways for people to learn. They can learn this one basic thing, right? The simplest thing, that's the most hardest thing to, it's the most simple and the most difficult thing, I think. But I think there's a passion in all of you that knows that something can change and the impact that it can have. And that's what our goal at the 5 houses is. So take these 4 seeds and see where you're doing it and where you're not doing it. Where are you closing down versus opening up to other people? Where can you be more generous? Where can you encourage more? Where can you help more? And then for the love of seeds, please do it yourself. Like, be the example yourself. You're going to fall off your bike too. As a leader, you will fall. And you have to fall well. And you have to fall with example. Leading people. Yes, I made a mistake. And how you recover from that mistake will be more of an example than the mistake itself. All right, thank you all very much. And what do we have next? So coming up is, I know he's going to tell you, but I want to tell you. The next classes that are coming up about the 5 houses are going to be house-specific classes. So you're going to learn about different types of presentations in each of those houses. So looking forward to that very much, and take it away, David.
Okay. Thank you so much, teacher team, Lowen Hearts.
Lowen Hearts.
We're a little bit short on the break time, so we're going to take a short break for 10 minutes. Then we're going to come back for our Samadhi House Masterclass led by teacher Hector and Javier. Even though this seems to be just a Samadhi House, but we strongly encourage everyone to attend because in such a special event, this class is here for a reason. Maybe have something special for you as well. So we'll see you in 10 minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher Tim, for teaching. Tim's teaching is always very informative and fun. Hope you all have enjoyed. And you have more information about the 5 houses. So thank you for your participation and engagement. And now let's take a 10 minutes break before we come to a specific house, the Samadhi House Masterclass with teacher Javier and teacher Hector. See you all then.